In a previous video we inherited from the thread class to create a secondary thread for your Java application. There is another approach when creating threads. We can create a custom class that implements an interface called runnable. I will demonstrate this using the project runnable thread, which has a main class and a custom class that implements runnable interface. It will have the same run method as when you extend the thread class as a superclass. I will go to my package, right-click and create a new class. I'll call it runnable thread, and then instead of setting a superclass I'll add an interface. I'll click the add button, type runnable, and choose the runnable interface from java.lang, and then I'll click finish. Eclipse automatically adds the run method because it's a required method of the runnable interface, and so it must be implemented by the class. I will copy the code from the video about extended thread. Selecting everything inside the method signature, copying it to the clipboard, and then I'll come back to the new class that implements runnable and paste that code in. And to distinguish it from the first class, I'll change the output. I will write runnable thread is running. Notice that when you implement the runnable interface, you no longer have direct access to the methods of the thread class. So to call sleep I'll use a static method of the thread class. I'll save those changes and come back to my main class. I will copy all the code of the main class from the previous video as well. The next step is to start thread. You can't start the thread directly by calling a start method, and that's one of the downsides of using the runnable interface. Instead you create a new instance of the thread class like this. New thread, then passing the runnable object and then from the call the start method. So the new thread is anonymous. You're not assigning it a name. You only need to instantiate it and use it long enough to call the start method, and then you're done with it. I'll switch back to the main class and run the application, and I see all of the threads running simultaneously. Just as before when both the main process and all of the other threads are complete, the application terminates automatically. So that's a look at how to use the runnable interface. In summary, we implemented the interface instead of extending the thread class. This results in a slightly more lightweight class that only does the things you need instead of all the things that the thread class does. But as you can see, it lets you define and execute secondary processes just as easily as extending the thread class. Click like and subscribe to the channel.